Welcome, esteemed subscribers. You've unlocked a treasure trove of exclusive bonus episodes where the secrets of castles and the whispers of history come to life like never before. Together, we'll embark on a quest to uncover the hidden stories and the untold legends of medieval history. So, prepare to immerse yourself in stories that will transport you across centuries. These bonus episodes are a reward for your dedication to the preservation of these living relics. Together, we'll preserve their history one tale at a time. Our exclusive journey begins now. Few figures have cast as long and as complex a shadow as Napoleon Bonaparte. His story, a tapestry of conquest and ambition, love and betrayal, has been etched into the collective memory of the world. But beyond the grand narrative of battles won and lost, of empires rising and falling, lies a treasure trove of mysteries and untold stories waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to our bonus episode, Beyond the Battlefield, Unveiling the Mysteries of Napoleon's Era, an expedition into the enigmatic and often overlooked facets of the Napoleonic age. In this episode, we venture beyond the well-trodden paths of history. We delve into the secrets hidden in the corners of palaces and the whispers echoed in the halls of power. We explore the nuanced layers of a time that was as rich in cultural and intellectual ferment as it was in political and military upheaval. This journey is for the insatiably curious, the seekers of stories untold, and the lovers of history who yearn to look beyond the facade of the familiar. Our narrative begins in the heart of Paris, in the verdant expanse of the Tuileries garden. Here, amidst the meticulously landscaped gardens, stand the enigmatic Sphinxes, silent witnesses to a bygone era. These ancient relics, brought to France during the height of Napoleon's fascination with Egypt, are more than mere decorations. They are symbols of a cultural obsession that swept through France. The story of these Sphinxes is a portal into the era's fascination with the exotic and the ancient, a testament to how Napoleon's Egyptian campaign influenced not just military strategies, but also cultural and artistic pursuits. As we navigate through the labyrinth of Napoleon's personal correspondences, we stumble upon a cache of recently discovered love letters. These are not the famous missives to Josephine that speak of a passionate and turbulent romance. These are to lesser-known figures, women who drifted through the edges of Napoleon's life, leaving faint traces in the historical record. These letters, intimate and revealing, offer a new perspective on Napoleon's emotional landscape, a glimpse into the heart of a man known for his iron will and strategic mind. The shadowy world of espionage and secret diplomacy under Napoleon's rule is our next destination. Here, in the covert operations and spy networks, lies the intrigue that underpinned his military and political strategies. These secret diplomats, operating in the shadows, were as crucial to the Napoleonic wars as the soldiers on the battlefield. Their stories, often lost in the grander narrative, shed light on the era's complex web of alliances, betrayals, and espionage. Passion, an often overlooked aspect of Napoleon's influence, is our next focus. The Napoleonic era was a time of sartorial revolution where military uniforms influenced mainstream fashion and Josephine de Beauharnais emerged as a style icon. The fashion trends of the time were not mere frivolities. They were reflections of the societal changes and the shift in aesthetics brought about by Napoleon's rule. The unsung heroes and ordinary people of Napoleon's time form the heart of our next segment. Beyond the generals and statesmen were the soldiers who fought the battles, the citizens who endured the upheavals, and the everyday heroes who navigated these tumultuous times. Their stories, often overshadowed by the grandeur of historical events, are poignant reminders of the human dimension of history. Finally, we explore Napoleon's impact on French cuisine. The Napoleonic campaigns, often seen purely in terms of military and political consequences, also had a culinary aspect. The food of the era, influenced by the scarcity of war and the exposure to new cultures, evolved in fascinating ways. The culinary legacy of the Napoleonic era is a testament to how even the most sweeping of historical events can influence the most intimate aspects of daily life. As we embark on this journey beyond the battlefield, we invite you to join us in exploring the untold stories and hidden mysteries of Napoleon's era. This is not just a retelling of history. It is an exploration of the lesser-known narratives that provide a fuller, richer understanding of one of history's most enigmatic figures and his time. Let us peel back the layers of the past, unveiling the mysteries that lie beneath the surface of the Napoleonic legend. In the heart of Paris, amidst the lush greenery of the Tuileries garden, stand the enigmatic Sphinxes. These majestic statues, steeped in mystery and history, are enduring symbols of Napoleon Bonaparte's fascination with ancient Egypt, a fascination that extended far beyond the realm of military conquest. The story of the Tuileries Sphinxes begins with Napoleon's Egyptian campaign, a grand venture that was as much an intellectual and cultural expedition as it was a military one. In 1798, Napoleon embarked on a campaign to Egypt, a land steeped in ancient mystery and strategic importance. Accompanying his army was a contingent of scientists, scholars, and artists, the Commission des Sciences et des Arts. This group was tasked with exploring and documenting the ancient wonders of Egypt, an endeavor that reflected Napoleon's vision of merging military conquest with cultural and scholarly pursuits. The discovery and study of Egyptian antiquities were an important part of this mission. The scholars were mesmerized by the remnants of an ancient civilization that had long fascinated the European imagination. Among their findings were the Sphinxes, symbols of power and mystery that had guarded the temples and tombs of Egypt for millennia. The decision to transport these Sphinxes to France was not just an act of imperial appropriation. It was part of a broader project to bring the treasures of the ancient world to Paris, which Napoleon envisioned as the new cultural capital of Europe. The arrival of the Sphinxes in Paris was a spectacle that captured the public's imagination. These relics of an ancient civilization, transported across the Mediterranean and through the streets of Paris, were more than mere objects of art. They were tangible connections to a distant, almost mythical past. The placement of the Sphinxes in the Tuileries garden was a statement. It symbolized the power and enlightenment of the Napoleonic regime, a regime that saw itself as the inheritor of the cultural legacy of the ancient world. The Sphinxes in the Tuileries were more than silent witnesses to the grandeur of Napoleon's reign. They were participants in a cultural revolution. The Napoleonic era was a time of intense intellectual and artistic ferment. The Egyptian campaign ignited a wave of Egyptomania, a fascination with all things Egyptian that swept through French society. This fascination was not merely aesthetic. It was part of a larger Enlightenment quest to understand the origins of civilization and the universal truths of human history. The influence of Egypt on the art, architecture, and culture of the time was profound. Egyptian motifs appeared in everything from furniture to fashion, from public monuments to private homes. The Sphinxes, with their inscrutable expressions and majestic forms, became symbols of this Egyptomania. They represented a blending of the ancient and the modern, the merging of Napoleon's imperial ambitions with his vision of a culturally enlightened empire. However, the presence of these Sphinxes in Paris also raises questions about the nature of cultural appropriation. The story of the Sphinxes is thus a complex tapestry, woven with threads of intellectual curiosity, imperial ambition, and the problematic aspects of cultural dominance. The Sphinxes of the Tuileries garden are more than mere relics of the past. They are symbols of a moment in history when the boundaries between cultures, between the ancient and the modern, were being redrawn. They represent Napoleon's ambitious attempt to position France at the forefront of a cultural renaissance, an attempt that was as audacious as his military campaigns. The enigmatic Sphinxes, gazing serenely across the Tuileries, invite us to reflect on the legacy of an era that forever changed the way we view the past and its place in the present. In the shadows of history, away from the battlefield's clamour and the court's opulence, lie hidden treasures of a personal nature, the lost love letters of Napoleon Bonaparte. These recently uncovered letters, penned by a hand more accustomed to drafting battle strategies than declarations of love, offer a rare glimpse into the emotional world of a man often portrayed as the embodiment of stoic ambition. We will delve into these intimate correspondences, unravelling the complexities of Napoleon's heart and revealing a side of him seldom seen in the grand narratives of history. The discovery of these letters, tucked away in forgotten archives and private collections, was akin to finding a hidden chamber in a well-explored palace. They were written not to Josephine, the renowned love of his life, but to lesser-known women who fleetingly crossed his path and left indelible marks on his heart. These correspondences, filled with passion, longing, and sometimes anguish, paint a portrait of a man capable of deep and multifaceted affection. Napoleon's life, marked by relentless ambition and a constant struggle for power, was also punctuated by moments of profound loneliness and desire for companionship. These letters unveil the yearnings of a man who, despite his conquests and achievements, sought the solace found in intimate connections. They show him not as an unfeeling conqueror, but as a man capable of profound emotional depth. The women to whom these letters were addressed were diverse in their backgrounds and the nature of their relationships with Napoleon. From high-born ladies to actresses, from political allies' wives to young women who caught his eye, each evoked in him a distinct face of affection and desire. The letters to these women are filled with sentiments that range from fervent declarations of love to reflections on loneliness, from poetic musings to expressions of heartfelt longing. One such correspondence was with a young noblewoman whose intellect and beauty captivated Napoleon during his campaign in Italy. In his letters he wrote of the agony of being apart, of nights spent restless with thoughts of her. Another set of letters was addressed to an actress of the comedy, Française, revealing a flirtatious and playful side of Napoleon, often hidden from the public eye. These letters were not just expressions of romantic desire, they were also dialogues on art, philosophy, and the nature of love. These last letters also shed light on the personal cost of Napoleon's ambition. His life was a relentless pursuit of power and glory, often at the expense of his personal happiness. The letters speak of postponed meetings and unfulfilled promises, of love sacrificed on the altar of ambition. They reflect the inner turmoil of a man torn between his public duties and private desires. The tone of these letters evolved over time, mirroring the changes in Napoleon's life and fortunes. The early letters written during his rise to power are filled with confidence and optimism, reflecting the buoyancy of his youthful ambition. As his life progressed through periods of triumph and turmoil, the letters became tinged with a sense of melancholy and introspection, revealing a man contemplating the transience of love and glory. The lost love letters of Napoleon Bonaparte offer a fascinating exploration into the emotional landscape of one of history's most iconic figures. They reveal the complexity of a man who, despite being a master strategist and ruler, also possessed a deeply sensitive and passionate soul. These letters not only add a new dimension to our understanding of Napoleon, but also remind us of the universal human need for love and connection. They are a testament to the fact that behind the facade of power and the veneer of historical legend lies the heart of a man who loved, longed, and lost. In the grand theatre of Napoleonic Europe, where battles raged and empires rose and fell, a different kind of warfare was being waged, one shrouded in shadows and secrecy. This was the world of the secret diplomats, the spies and informants who operated in the murky underworld of espionage. Theirs was a war fought not with swords or guns, but with coded messages, clandestine meetings, and the currency of secrets. We shall delve into the clandestine operations and spy networks that underpin Napoleon's regime, revealing a hidden chess game of deceit and intelligence that played a crucial role in the Napoleonic Wars. Napoleon Bonaparte, a military genius and a master strategist, was acutely aware of the importance of information in warfare. He famously said, "War is 90% information," a statement that underscored his reliance on espionage and intelligence gathering. Under his rule, France developed one of the most sophisticated spy networks of its time, a network that spanned across Europe and even reached into the enemy's heartlands. The architects of this shadowy world were men and women from diverse backgrounds, diplomats who doubled as spies, military officers who gathered intelligence, and ordinary citizens who provided crucial information. They operated in a world where loyalty was fluid and betrayal was a constant threat. Their stories are tales of intrigue, danger, and sometimes tragedy. One such figure was Charles Maurice de Talleyrand-Périgord, Napoleon's foreign minister and one of the most enigmatic characters of his regime. Talleyrand was a master of diplomacy and deception, a man who navigated the treacherous waters of European politics with skill and fines. He was instrumental in negotiating treaties and alliances, but beneath the veneer of diplomacy, he was a shrewd operator of Napoleon's spy network. His ability to gather and leverage information was crucial to many of Napoleon's diplomatic and military successes. Another key player in this clandestine world was Joseph Fouché, the Minister of Police. Fouché's extensive network of spies and informants kept Napoleon informed of developments within France and beyond. He was a man feared and respected for his ability to uncover plots and silence dissent. His network infiltrated every level of society, from the salons of Paris to the corridors of power, ensuring that Napoleon's regime was always one step ahead of its enemies. The secret diplomats also included women who played pivotal roles in gathering intelligence. Women like Josephine's daughter, Hortense de Beauharnais, who used her position and connections to gather information from the courts of Europe. Their contributions, often overlooked in the male-dominated narratives of history, were vital to the success of Napoleon's espionage efforts. These secret operatives were not just gatherers of information, they were also purveyors of misinformation. Part of their role was to deceive Napoleon's enemies, to plant false information, and to mislead and manipulate. This shadow war of misinformation was a crucial component of Napoleon's military strategy, often determining the outcome of battles and campaigns. The spy network, however, was a double-edged sword. While it provided Napoleon with a significant advantage, it also fostered an atmosphere of paranoia and mistrust. The constant fear of betrayal and espionage permeated his regime, leading to a culture of surveillance and repression. This climate of suspicion extended even to Napoleon himself, who often doubted the loyalty of those closest to him. The secret diplomats of the Napoleonic era were key players in a hidden war that was as crucial as any battle fought in the open fields. Their stories shed light on the complexities of espionage in an era of empires and revolutions. They remind us that behind the grandeur of military parades and the pomp of court life, there was a world where information was power and secrets were weapons. The shadowy realm of the secret diplomats was a crucial underpinning of Napoleon's rule, a world where the fates of empires were often decided not by the sword, but by the whispered word in a shadowed room. Napoleon Bonaparte is renowned as a conqueror and a statesman, but his influence extended far beyond the battlefield and the political arena. He was, in many ways, a fashion emperor whose reign significantly influenced European style and aesthetics. We shall explore how Napoleon, along with his empress Josephine, became trendsetters of their era, weaving a narrative of elegance, power, and revolution in the fabric of fashion. Napoleon's ascent to power coincided with a period of profound transformation in European fashion. The French Revolution had upended the traditional sartorial order, eschewing the extravagance and opulence of the ancient regime in favour of more simplified attire. Into this milieu stepped Napoleon, whose personal style and preferences would come to define an era. Central to Napoleon's influence on fashion was his desire to use clothing as a tool of power and political messaging. He understood the symbolic power of attire and carefully crafted his public image through his wardrobe. The most iconic of these is his military uniform, the simple yet elegant green and white uniform of a colonel of the chasseurs, a cheval de la garde impériale, often completed with his characteristic bicorn hat. This became not just a personal trademark, but a symbol of his authority and the revolutionary ideals he stood for. Napoleon's impact on men's fashion extended beyond his military attire. He encouraged a style that was starkly different from the elaborate and ornate fashion of the pre-revolutionary aristocracy. Under his influence, men's fashion became more structured and understated, emphasizing clean lines and a more somber palette. The tailcoat, which became a staple of men's wardrobe during this period, reflected this shift. It was a garment that combined elegance with a sense of seriousness, a reflection of the values of the Napoleonic era. However, it was through Empress Josephine, Napoleon's first wife, that the most significant impact on fashion was felt. Josephine was a fashion icon, known for her exquisite taste and her penchant for luxury. She popularized the empire silhouette, characterized by a high waistline just under the bust, a style that became synonymous with the era. This silhouette was a departure from the restrictive and structured garments of the past, offering a sense of freedom and simplicity that resonated with the post-revolutionary ethos. Josephine's influence extended to the fabrics and patterns used in women's clothing. She favored light, flowing fabrics like muslin and chiffon, often adorned with classical motifs such as Greek keys or Roman medallion. These choices were not merely aesthetic. They were imbued with political symbolism, aligning the fashion of the day with the revival of classical ideals that the Napoleonic regime espoused. The fashion of the Napoleonic era also saw the integration of military elements into civilian clothing, a trend that mirrored the militarization of society under Napoleon's rule. Elements such as brass buttons, epaulettes, and the colors of military uniforms found their way into everyday attire, blurring the lines between the military and civilian worlds. Beyond France, Napoleon's influence on fashion spread across Europe, carried by the soldiers and diplomats of his empire. The styles and trends that originated in Paris, the fashion capital of the time, were emulated in courts and cities from Madrid to Moscow. Napoleon's conquests were not just territorial but cultural, as he reshaped the aesthetic landscape of the continent. Napoleon Bonaparte's legacy in fashion is a testament to his understanding of the power of image and symbolism. Through his and Josephine's sartorial choices, they influenced an era, leaving a lasting imprint on the world of fashion. Their impact was not merely about changing trends. It was about the use of clothing as a form of expression, a reflection of the societal changes and ideals of their time. The fashion of the Napoleonic era, with its elegance, simplicity, and subtle power, continues to echo in the corridors of style, a lasting reminder of the fashion emperor and his empress. In the grand narrative of the Napoleonic era, dominated by the figure of Napoleon Bonaparte himself, the stories of countless unsung heroes often fade into obscurity. These were the men and women who, away from the limelight of historic battles and grand political machinations, played crucial roles in shaping the course of events during this tumultuous period. We will now bring to the fore the tales of these overlooked individuals, whose courage, ingenuity, and resilience were the silent yet formidable undercurrents of the Napoleonic epoch. In the shadow of Napoleon's monumental campaigns, there were soldiers whose names never made it into the annals of history, but whose bravery and sacrifices were pivotal in the numerous battles that dotted the European landscape. Among them were figures like Sergeant François Vigo, Roussillon, an artilleryman in Napoleon's Grand Army. His story, though not recorded in most history books, is a tale of extraordinary courage and loyalty. Vigo, Roussillon served in several key campaigns, including the harrowing retreat from Moscow, where he displayed immense bravery in the face of dire adversity, saving his compatriots and surviving against all odds. Beyond the battlefield, there were also countless civilians whose lives were upended by the sweeping changes of the era. One such figure was Louise Germain, a seamstress in Paris during the peak of Napoleon's rule. Amidst the socio-economic upheavals of the time, Louise's small shop became a meeting place for discussions on the rapidly changing political landscape. Her role transcended that of a mere artisan. She became a silent observer and, at times, an active participant in the shaping of public opinion during a time of great political flux. The era also witnessed the emergence of extraordinary women who defied the conventions of their time. Women like Sophie Blanchard, the first professional female balloonist who captivated Paris with her daring ascents. Blanchard's exploits were not just feats of aerial adventure. They symbolized the breaking of barriers and the spirit of innovation that defined the Napoleonic era. Her flights were more than mere entertainment. They were a testament to the era's fascination with science and the boundless possibilities of human endeavor. In the realm of espionage, where shadows and secrecy reigned, there were unsung heroes like Charles Cabarrus, a little-known spy who played a crucial role in gathering intelligence for the French. Operating behind enemy lines, Cabarrus's work was fraught with danger, yet it was crucial in providing Napoleon with the information needed to outmaneuver his adversaries. His life was a perpetual dance with danger, a testament to the many faceless individuals who risked everything in the service of their nation. The contributions of these individuals extended beyond the battlefield and the covert world of espionage. The Napoleonic era was a time of significant cultural and scientific advancements, and there were many who contributed to this flowering of knowledge. Figures like Elise Rivet, a nurse and social reformer, dedicated her life to improving the conditions of the wounded and the sick. Her contributions to the field of nursing and healthcare were instrumental in transforming medical practices during a time of widespread conflict and disease. These stories of unsung heroes are not just individual tales of courage and perseverance, they are representative of the countless lives that intersected with the grand narrative of the Napoleonic era. They remind us that history is not only shaped by the famous and the powerful, but also by ordinary individuals who, in their own ways, contribute to the unfolding of events. Their stories are a vital part of the tapestry of this period, offering a richer and more nuanced understanding of the times. They remind us of the human dimension of history, of the dreams, struggles, and triumphs of those who, though forgotten by history, played an essential role in shaping their world. In bringing their stories to light, we pay homage to the unseen and unrecognized, whose lives and legacies are an integral part of the legacy of the Napoleonic era. In the grand narrative of Napoleon Bonaparte's life, his military and political conquests are often the central focus. However, an often overlooked aspect of his legacy is his profound influence on the culinary world. We now explore how Napoleon's campaigns and personal preferences significantly shaped French cuisine, leaving a gastronomic imprint that extends far beyond the battlefields and into the kitchens and dining rooms of France and beyond. Napoleon's reign coincided with a period of significant culinary evolution in France. The turbulence of the French Revolution had upended the traditional aristocratic culinary order, paving the way for new styles and tastes. Into this changing gastronomic landscape stepped Napoleon, whose personal tastes and the logistical demands of his campaigns inadvertently revolutionized French cuisine. One of the most notable culinary legacies of Napoleon's era is the innovation spurred by the needs of his army. The famous anecdote of the creation of canned food is a case in point. The challenge of feeding a large army on the move led to a prize being offered for a method to preserve food. This contest was won by Nicholas Appert, a confectioner and chef who developed the technique of sealing food in airtight jars, a precursor to modern canning. This innovation not only transformed military logistics, but also had far-reaching implications for food preservation and safety. Another culinary development attributed to Napoleon's campaigns is the popularization of foods like potatoes and coffee. The Continental blockade, aimed at cutting off trade with Britain, created shortages of staple foods like wheat and sugar. This led to a greater reliance on potatoes as a staple food, a shift that played a significant role in their acceptance in French cuisine. Similarly, the scarcity of colonial products like sugar led to the increased consumption of coffee in its pure form, without sugar, thus altering the French palate. Napoleon's personal eating habits also had an influence on culinary trends. Known for his preference for simple, hearty meals over elaborate, aristocratic feasts, his taste reflected the broader shift towards simpler and more pragmatic approaches to food. His fondness for dishes like chicken Marengo, allegedly concocted after the Battle of Marengo, became part of the popular culinary lore, with the dish remaining a classic of French cuisine. The era also witnessed the rise of great chefs and the establishment of restaurants as culinary destinations. Marie-Antoine Carême, often considered the first celebrity chef, rose to prominence during Napoleon's time. Carême, known for his elaborate and artistic creations, embodied the spirit of innovation and excellence that defined culinary arts during this period. He was instrumental in developing haute cuisine, refining and documenting cooking techniques and elevating the status of chefs. Napoleon's impact on cuisine was not limited to France. His campaigns across Europe and the Mediterranean introduced French culinary techniques and ingredients to other regions, while also bringing back foreign influences into French cooking. This exchange of culinary traditions enriched the gastronomic landscape, leading to a fusion of flavors and techniques that would shape modern European cuisine. Napoleon Bonaparte's influence on the culinary world is a fascinating aspect of his legacy. His era marked a turning point in the evolution of French cuisine, from the refinement of cooking techniques to the popularization of certain foods and the rise of the restaurant culture. The culinary innovations of the time, driven by necessity, personal taste, and the cross-cultural exchanges brought about by his campaigns, had a lasting impact on the way we cook and eat. Napoleon, thus, can be seen not only as a military and political conqueror, but also as a culinary conqueror, whose influence extended from the battlefield to the dining tables of France and beyond. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name synonymous with war and conquest, was also a pivotal architect of modern Europe. His reign, marked by sweeping military campaigns and bold political maneuvers, reshaped the continent's geographical and political landscape. Let's explore how Napoleon's actions and policies, driven by a blend of visionary ambition and pragmatic governance, laid the foundations for the Europe we know today. Napoleon's rise to power occurred in a Europe fragmented by old feudal structures and rival kingdoms. The French Revolution had already begun to erode these structures, but it was Napoleon who accelerated this process, redrawing the map of Europe with a boldness not seen since the days of the Roman Empire. His conquests and subsequent administrative reforms dismantled centuries-old boundaries, abolished numerous small states, and consolidated others, creating larger, more manageable political units. One of Napoleon's most significant contributions to the shaping of modern Europe was the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire in 1806. This ancient confederation of territories, a complex and unwieldy relic of medieval Europe, was replaced by a more streamlined and cohesive group of states. In its place, Napoleon established the Confederation of the Rhine, a collection of German states under French influence. This act not only consolidated Napoleon's control over Germany, but also paved the way for the eventual unification of Germany in the 19th century. Another key aspect of Napoleon's reshaping of Europe was the spread of the revolutionary ideals he championed. The Napoleonic Code, his most enduring legal legacy, was implemented across the territories under his control. This code, with its emphasis on clear laws, equality before the law, and the protection of property rights, was a radical departure from the feudal legal systems that had dominated Europe. The code's influence extended far beyond Napoleon's reign, serving as a model for legal systems in many parts of the world. Napoleon's impact on Europe was also cultural and ideological. His reign saw the spread of the ideals of the Enlightenment across the continent. Concepts such as meritocracy, secular governance, and rational administration, which were at the heart of Napoleon's reforms, challenged the traditional aristocratic order and laid the groundwork for the modern bureaucratic state. These ideas, carried by the soldiers and administrators of the Napoleonic regime, took root in various parts of Europe, sparking movements that would eventually lead to the liberal revolutions of the 19th century. However, the reshaping of Europe under Napoleon was not without its costs. His expansionist policies led to widespread warfare, causing immense suffering and loss of life. The continental system, intended to cripple Britain economically, disrupted trade and provoked widespread economic hardship. Napoleon's legacy in Europe is thus a complex one, marked by both progressive reforms and aggressive imperialism. The downfall of Napoleon did not undo the changes he had brought about. The Congress of Vienna, convened to restore order to Europe after the Napoleonic Wars, could not turn back the clock to the pre-revolutionary era. The national boundaries, legal systems, and ideas that Napoleon had helped to reshape or introduce formed the basis of the new European order. The 19th century would see the continued influence of these changes as nations grappled with the concepts of nationalism, liberalism, and the modern state, concepts that have been significantly shaped by Napoleon's hand. Napoleon Bonaparte's role as the architect of modern Europe is a testament to his ability to influence and reshape the continent, both through conquest and governance. His legacy is one that transcends his military victories and defeats. It lies in the lasting impact of his policies and reforms on the structure and ideology of European states. Napoleon's vision, ambition, and administrative acumen played a crucial role in shaping the Europe of today, making him not just a figure of history, but a sculptor of the modern world. As our journey through the hidden corridors of the Napoleonic era draws to a close, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of a deeper understanding of this complex period and its enduring legacy. This exploration, far removed from the thunder of cannons and the grandeur of palaces, has taken us into the unseen realms where the quiet but powerful currents of history flow. In this conclusion, we reflect upon the myriad ways in which the lesser-known aspects of Napoleon's time continue to echo through the centuries, shaping our perceptions and understanding of a past that is both distant and intimately familiar. As we step back from the intricate tapestry of the Napoleonic era, we are reminded of the richness and complexity of history. It is a narrative woven from the grand and the mundane, the famous and the forgotten, the dramatic and the subtle. The stories we have explored in this bonus episode are but a few threads in the vast fabric of the past, offering insights and perspectives that challenge and enrich our understanding of a time that forever changed the world. In the end, the Napoleonic era, with all its contradictions and complexities, continues to captivate and intrigue. It stands as a powerful testament to the multifaceted nature of history, a reminder that the past is a mosaic of experiences and perspectives, each offering a unique window into the human story. Thank you for joining us on this enchanting journey through the pages of history. As we bid farewell to another captivating bonus episode, remember that your support makes it all possible. We'll be back soon with more tales and mysteries, so stay tuned. Until then, keep your curiosity alive, and may your love for history continue to thrive. Farewell, dear listeners, and remember, the past never truly fades away, as long as we're here to explore it together.